Hillary Clinton's troubling poll numbers. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. Despite the mainstream media hype, despite the almost constant cleaning up that the mainstream media do for Hillary Clinton, things are not going well for the Democratic presidential nominee. First off, 60% of Americans don't trust her. Secondly, her poll numbers, they're actually not that good. And third, almost half of Democrats think she's a crook that sold access to big-time donors of the Clinton Foundation, and an overwhelming majority of independent voters think the same. Let's look at some of these stats. Clinton's trust factor? Right now, 6 out of 10 American voters say they don't trust her. Sure, maybe the numbers aren't much better for Donald Trump, but that's still staggering. And you know, some of them will be Democrats. We'll get into one of the reasons why they don't trust her in a moment, but first, how are her poll numbers overall doing? Well, that depends on the poll and the questions being asked. She doesn't have this huge lead that you think. Many national polls only offer voters the choice of the Democrat or Republican candidate. But with third-party candidates like Gary Johnson, the Libertarian, Jill Stein, the Green candidate, gaining traction this year, may not be an accurate picture. Here's what Rasmussen discovered when they allowed people to choose between Clinton, Trump, Johnson, and Stein. Quote, the latest weekly Rasmussen Reports White House Watch shows Trump with 40% support to Clinton's 39 among likely U.S. voters after Clinton led 42 to 38 a week ago. Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson now earned 7% of the vote, down from 9 in the previous 2 weeks, while Green Party candidate Jill Stein picks up 3% support. 3% like some other candidate, 7% are undecided. Then there was a poll by Fox News, found fairly similar numbers. Now, before people dismiss Fox as being on the right and in it for Trump, here's an interesting fact on how they do polls. They hire 2 firms, one Republican, one Democrat, have them work together to take away the apprehension of bias. So they hired the Democratic firm Anderson Robbins Research and the Republican Shaw and Company Research, and they too offered all 4 choices to voters. Here's the quote. The poll finds Clinton's garners 41% to Trump's 39%, while Libertarian Gary Johnson receives 9%. Green Party candidate Jill Stein gets 4%, similar to Rasmussen. The third-party candidates take more from Clinton than Trump, as she holds a 6% lead in the two-way matchup, 48-42. That's at the edge of the poll's margin of error. Oh, by the way, that 6-point lead for Clinton in Fox's two-way matchup, that's down from a 10-point lead in early August, just after the convention. But buried among all the other questions that Fox asked is a key part of why people, including Democrats, don't trust Hillary Clinton. Almost half of Democrats believe that Bill and Hillary Clinton were selling access to the State Department to high-level donors of the Clinton Foundation. The poll asked about which candidate voters were supporting in the presidential election, their views on each candidate, and then about the Clintons and claims of influence peddling. I'm going to read you the whole question here. There have been reports that the Clinton Foundation, a nonprofit organization started by former President Bill Clinton, accepted substantial financial donations from foreign governments while Hillary Clinton was serving as Secretary of State. How likely do you think it is that the Clintons were selling influence to foreign contributors who made donations to the Clinton Foundation? Among all voters, 42% said it was very likely, 24% said somewhat likely. But what's shocking? 43% of those who say they're Democrats say it's very or somewhat likely the Clintons were selling influence. 13% very likely, 30% somewhat. Republicans overwhelmingly believe the Clintons sold access, 67% very likely, 21% somewhat. But what's troubling for the Clinton campaign? A strong majority of independents believe she sold access. Independent voters, 53% say very likely, 20% somewhat likely. Those are shocking numbers. For Hillary Clinton to win the White House, she needs independents. But 3/4 of them think she's off-selling access to the State Department in exchange for donations. You expect Republicans to think bad things of the Democratic Party's candidate, no matter who they are. But independents feeling the same way? That's a big problem for Clinton and the Democrats. If the media were not so in the tank for Hillary Clinton, then mark my words, Donald Trump would be winning this election hands down. I know Trump puts his foot in his mouth. He creates distracting stories when he doesn't need to. But even with all of that, he's closer than many people think, closer than the mainstream media would have you believe, and in contention for this race. If the mainstream media spent half as much time looking at Hillary Clinton's problems as they do Donald Trump's, this election would be over and we would never hear from the Clintons again.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.